Welcome back to the channel. Hey guys, I'm back in the garage. As you know, I picked up from the previous video, I picked up a 70.5 Camaro. I have a 71 that you saw that I built on the channel. So this one is also blue, as you saw before. So I'm not gonna film like every single aspect of building this car like I did last time, but I got this as an unfinished project, let's put it that way. So I've already done quite a bit, as you can tell here. Pile of parts, pile empty boxes. There's still a lot of parts to go on. So I picked this car up, like I said, 70.5. It had suspension on it. It has four-wheel disc brakes. They kind of semi-mounted the vintage AC. It's got a Dakota digital dash. It is kind of, it's mostly in blue, white stripes. I still got to get the stripes painted on the hood, as you can tell. But, so the work that I've done to this is a buttload. So I have put new lines front to rear, fuel and brake line. So I already did all that. As you remember, this motor here is a 1970 LT1 that came out of my 71. So being that this is a 70, this kind of a period correct. It also came with this one came with an M21 4-speed tranny. So the motor that was in there when I got this car from a buddy of mine owns a shop, it had a 454. So I already had this motor, so he kept that one. So the 350 LT1 with the M21 I put back in it. And then, you know, the other stuff that I had to do, because they had vintage AC, as you can tell, right here with the standard compressor. So I went ahead and bought a serpentine system because it was trying to find a V-belt system was, you know, unless you have the old school stock stuff, it's just almost impossible. I'm sure it's out there, but I looked and talked with March and vintage, you know, vintage AC. It was just kind of, anyway. So I put, this is a March pulley mid-mount kit on it, serpentine. So it ends up being like a 6-rib system. So that should make it, you know, run pretty good. Everything will work. I still got to order another belt. The one that they say to work with it, a 59, does not fit. It's still probably about 3 inches too long. I mean, everybody application is different, but the suggested. So I'm going to send that back and get another 56-inch belt. So, like I said, so a lot of stuff is new. So power steering lines are new. I had to do a new intermediate shaft. The control arms are already on it. Up-duty sway bar. It does have an aluminum radiator, but I had to get the shroud and the fans and the relay fan wiring kit, which, as you can see, I got American Auto Wire. And this is a classic update kit. And I used them on the 71 Camaro last time as replacement, stock OEM replacement that I rewired my whole 71 Camaro with. This one is a classic update kit because, you know, wiring doesn't really scare me. So they're like, hey, as long as you can wire, blah, 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 we'll go ahead and do this one. It was a lot better. It's front to rear, which kind of what this car needed anyway. So this is the start of the wiring. Like, this is your front light. This is the engine kit. So I'll be able to run this where I need it to be, put it in loom, zip tie it nice and neat, ready to rock and roll, get everything working, you know, headlights, turn signals, all that stuff, front to rear. You know, it comes with everything. The kit's pretty complete. I mean, it comes with all the ends and the fittings, and, you know, the only thing is I had to buy like the two crimpers I need, either a single or a double over crimp for doing this, kind of like what GM did back then. But it'll be good. It'll take a little bit of time. So like I said, I'm not going to film all that because it's going to be a little time consuming. I also put brand new stock style like booster, master cylinder, proportioning valve. Like I said, new brake lines. I put all in. These are the headers that came with this motor that I was in my 71 Camaro. So I'm going to put these. I put these headers back on it. And then, like I said, new battery tray, kind of new bushings up front. They put body mount bushings on it. They look like energy suspension to me. the only downfall, so this motor here that I replaced, the wiper motor, it is a non-concealed, but these arms are for concealed because they have 3 bolts versus 2 when I was doing some investigation and talking with Camaro Central and other people. So they were trying to convert this, but that's kind of like impossible because the style of motor that you need for to be concealed, the motor comes up like here above the firewall. It's just not going to work. Like I have one, a new one, and that's kind of how we investigated and found out. So I got to order the correct wiper arm assembly for that. I should have that this week. And then just a lot of little stuff, guys. I mean, there's just a lot of little stuff. You know, but all the new starter, put a Power Torque mini starter on it. New fuel pump. I'm just running mechanical. I'm not going to run Sniper EFI in this because I'm going to turn around and this car is going to be for sale. But like I said, it is a true 70.5. It's pretty clean. You know, it's pretty solid underneath. It looks like they had it on a rotisserie. The underside is painted gloss black. I would have done flat black, but it's painted gloss black. New suspension, like I said, front and rear. It's got American Racing, like Torque Thrust 2 wheels on it, front and rear. There's some other stuff that I got to replace. You know, a couple interior things. It came with new interior as far as seat covers. So it does have front and rear seat covers. The dash I got to finish putting in. They put power windows in it, although these power motors and these windows aren't going to be real correct. So I had to order new ones, unfortunately, because this is a chassis ground motor that's in these, and it's real impossible to find a wire harness. Like I've tried, nobody's really reproducing it. I've tried eBay. So I actually ended up ordering from this Specialty Power Windows, and the guy was really, really cool. So if you ever need anything power windows, call him, Specialty Power Windows. So he sent me their polarized motor with scissors and stuff. So it's going to be a pain, but I'll be able to swap this out. I'll have all the correct wiring to tie each side together. Because then you could run the switches in the door versus the center console. I'm not going to put a center console in this. I just have the 4-speed shifter on the floor. But like I said, it's time consuming. There's the vintage AC. I got to finish wiring the ducts, hook the dash up. So I mean, there's a lot of little stuff that still needs to be done. You know, a lot of little things. But you know, I'll get to it as it. And then it's got to go back to the guy I bought it from, and he's going to fix the paint issues. Like there's a couple nicks and chips, and so we're going to address all that, try and get it real clean and recut and, you know, wet sand it and recut and stuff like that. So I'll be able to, you know, I don't want to put out a crap. I didn't paint it. You know, the paint job is not the best, but you know, it's pretty decent. And I think after we address, you know, a couple issues with, you know, some nicks and chips and stuff like that, it should be a nice looking ride, and it should run good. I know this motor runs good because it came out of my 71 before I put the small block 427 in it. So, but for the most part, this is what's been going on with me and the channel. And, you know, of course, I've been busy with work also. So I got to work on this, you know, like these cars in the evening and stuff. But I will say, you know, my buddy Gary, also my neighbor, let me use his engine hoist, you know, and my son was supposed to come over, but he ended up getting busy and didn't help me. So I ended up putting this motor and tranny in this thing by myself. We actually had the entire front end off this car. We took it off in one piece. Once you unbolt it from the core support and here, and if it was kind of a pain, but we ended up getting it off in one piece, so I was able to freely work on a lot of this stuff. But so I ended up sliding this motor and tranny in by myself. That was a pain. I wouldn't suggest doing that. You know, it kind of sucked, but it only took me about an hour and a half. It wasn't too bad. I had blankets over the firewall, so I didn't really ding anything. Got it in there, got it lined up. So whoever had this car before, whenever they mounted this 454, kind of did it wrong. So these motor mounts down here were set back an inch in different holes, which was not making everything line up. That's how I found out, like the bell crank assembly just wasn't lining up. So after an investigation, I was like, oh, well, so we got to move forward. So I left the engine hoist jacked up, took these bolts out. Now, fellas, if you've never done this before, it is a royal PIA. These bolts suck to get to. They are just not engineered to have access to. There's a hole there, and it sucks. You know, between swivels and some electrical tape to keep the swivels not so swivelly. You know, so I was able to do it, and then my son came over. We were able to get these tightened back down yesterday. Put the front end back on. You know, then I said I got some lines hooked up. So there's still a lot of little stuff to do before I get this thing back running. Like now I'm kind of in the process of starting to bolt stuff back on. Once I get the other belt tomorrow or the next day, I'll be able to put that on. Then I have a brand new, I think, Brawler 650 CFM electric choke carb going on. I already have the MSD billet. I'll have the blaster coil. So there's a lot of little stuff to go back on. I'll get all that stuff bolted back on. You know, then the closer. It'll be closer. But I'll keep you guys posted. Like I said, that's kind of a summary right now. I didn't film every single process. Like I said, you've already seen that before. So I'll just kind of give you like a summary as I go and stuff. But for now, so stay tuned and we'll keep working on it.